Today, we're going to discuss the top 10 greatest New England Patriots players of all time. Starting off at number 10 with Wes Welker. In my opinion, has a legitimate case for being a Hall of Famer down the line. Five-time Pro Bowler, four-time All-Pro, including two times first-team All-Pro selection. Three times he led the league in receptions. Um, Certainly changed the game as far as how slot receivers play, and certainly deserves his spot as far as a New England Patriots legend. A theme you will see common within this list is that there are a lot of players who came for the Patriots from that Bill Belichick era. One of them, especially in the early 2000s, one of them being Ty Law, finished his career with 53 interceptions, led the league in picks twice, two-time first-team All-Pro selection, and a key reason to why the Patriots won, especially their first Super Bowl, but several of them. Was also a key reason to why the Patriots made the Super Bowl in 1996. Um, Ty Law is one of the greatest defensive backs of all time, no doubt about that. Uh, a gold jacket player and probably one of the greatest cornerbacks in Patriots history, if not for one other person we'll get to later on. But at number 8, we're going to go with Richard Seymour. In my opinion, the greatest defensive player that Bill Belichick has ever coached in his tenure for the Patriots. He was, to me, the main staple to why that Patriots defense was so dominant in the 2000s. Three-time first-team All-Pro selection, great at creating opportunities for his teammates, and great at creating pressure against opposing quarterbacks. At number 7, we're going to go with one of the most underrated guards of all time, Logan Mankins. Absolutely stocky and just extremely hard to move, strong as hell. Never won a what's it called? Very underrated as far as the credit he gets for that Patriots offensive line, and didn't necessarily receive a lot of accolades that he probably should have, but certainly was the best player on a dominant Patriots offense throughout the late 2000s and the early 2010s. At number 6, we're going to go with the guy who I think is the greatest Patriots defensive back of all time, Mike Haynes. Everything that Ty Law could do, Mike Haynes did even better, surprisingly, as far as his ability to read the quarterback's eyes, play in both zone and man coverage. He was ahead of his time, being able to read the receiver's route and anticipate it and run it basically for him. Extremely physical cornerback and a key staple on that Patriots defense in the late 70s and early 80s. At number 5, we're going to go with Adam Vinatieri. In my opinion, he's the greatest kicker of all time, the all-time leading scorer in NFL history. Absolutely clutch for New England, having kicked the game-winning field goal for them in two separate Super Bowls, Super Bowl 36 and 38, as well as that tough 45-yard field goal against the Raiders in the infamous Tuck Rule game. In my opinion, it's the greatest kick in NFL history during a postseason game. With the stakes as high as they were, Vinatieri always delivered. One of the clutchest players, if not the clutchest player of all time. Vinatieri, had it not been for Vinatieri, the Patriots certainly would not have won as many Super Bowls as he did, and he deserves that spot as number 5 on the New England Patriots list. At number 4, we're going to go with, in my opinion, the most dominant tight end of all time in his prime. That would be Rob Gronkowski. Changed tight ends forever. First four-time first team All-Pro selection. A shame that his career didn't go any longer just because of injuries, but in his prime was just the complete tight end. Absolutely great at being able to receive the ball, create yardage, and at the same time, an amazing red zone threat, but even more fantastic blocker. Just perfect in both the run game and the pass game. Gronk deserves a spot on the Patriots Mount Rushmore. At number 3, we're going to go with Andre Tippett. Had it not been for a shoulder injury that he had in 1989, there's a good chance he would have gone down as one of the greatest edge rushers of all time. Only finished his career, however, with 100 sacks. But in my opinion, he should have won a Defensive Player of the Year in 1985 and received a lot more accolades than he did. Was the best player on a dominant Patriots defense that led them to the Super Bowl appearance in 1985. As much as we love to talk about how Lawrence Taylor changed the defensive game as far as 3-4 linebacker game goes, and as far as formations, Andre Tippett did very similar stuff to Lawrence Taylor, and deserves as much credit, if not more, for the Patriots especially. At number 2, we're going to go with John Hanna, both an all-decade player in both the 1970s and the 1980s. A key reason to why Steve Grogan was as good of a rushing quarterback as he was. Fantastic in the run game, absolute mauler. If there's one offensive lineman, especially a guard, that I would recommend any young kid who wants to learn how to become a guard to watch, it's John Hanna. He just did things that were just inhuman. As you could see in this picture, he just looks like a mammoth of a player, just strong, just could throw you like you were a child. Truly a man amongst boys. John Hanna, seven-time first-team All-Pro selection, nine-time Pro Bowler, certainly one of the greatest players in Patriots history. But at number one, was it going to be anybody else other than Thomas Brady Jr., the guy who won six Super Bowls, who came in and told Robert Kraft that I'm going to be the greatest decision that this Patriots team has ever made, and actually lived up to that, even though he was the 199th pick. He won six Super Bowls, four-time uh, Super Bowl MVP, three-time NFL MVP, several records. Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback in NFL history, and certainly the greatest player in Patriots history.